Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Chatting Shit about the Ionic Cup. Joined by Stu, by Phil, and by Jay. How is everyone?
Good, mate. Thanks for having us.
Cold.
Cold. I think Stu's frozen, literally. So
yeah, very good. It is cold here in the UK. What can I say?
I mean, we're scrimping money, so we can't pay for eating.
We're really saving money here, guys.
It's not an episode with Phil.
No, it's true. Hey, speaking of, I feel like I owe Phil a bit of an apology actually, because I've always criticised Quagsire for being shit and like never actually killed
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I ran it in there at the cup and it was incredible. It was awesome. So I'm sorry for criticising the
Forever doubting Captain Quag, yeah.
Yeah, can't doubt.
Quagsire is always really solid. Like it does the kind of same thing each time, but it's just so tough to take down if you don't have a grass type. It just gets a lot of moves and is bulky.
So yeah, I hope there's no hard feelings there, Phil. But I'm
not aware of your animosity to one of my favourite mons.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I'm a big Sudowoodo fan, so it's.
I was about to talk about. I was going to say Sudowoodo. What about that one? But
yeah, I ran Shadow Sudowoodo in the last week of Vanguard, and that was nice. But anyway, that's the Ionic Cup. Before we get too distracted by cups that I like,
and mons which aren't in the cup.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that isn't in this cup.
There is a lot that isn't in this cup. Yeah. How do we feel about it being such a narrow selection?
I think they've done a good job. I know I've not done any battles or anything like that, but it's very clever.
I always enjoy the whitelists and stuff, to be fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not usually too big a fan of the whitelist ones, but this one seems really quite fun. And it's just a kind of nice mix of mons that we can use. I like the kind of fact that you choose an electric and then you've got a bit more flexibility aside from that. And then you're just trying to build around it. And I think it's kind of following on a bit from what we've had in Naiad. And Naiad, we had a lot of normal types running around. And I think we could have a similar theme this month as well. It's an early prediction of mine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, with no counter users knocking about.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Stu, we'll start off with you then today. What have you got for us?
All right. So very excitingly, my pick is Pokedex number 181. Ampharos!
Oh.
Hey.
Hello! Yeah, Ampharos, one of my old favourites. You find him at the top of a lighthouse, you got to save him, got to give him his medicine to get healthy and happy again. And then he's happy! Anyway, that's enough of him. I need to get you better. You need better IVs.
Told right there. Right.
No, so yeah, Ampharos. Anyway, so obviously it's an electric type. It's in the electron slot, and there's one of I think 6 or 7 electric types you can choose from.
6, yeah.
And
6.
6 in total, yeah. And why I like Ampharos, and I think it's an interesting one, is it's quite bulky compared to the other electric types. Electric types usually they're known for kind of being quite frail, maybe throwing a wild charge and going down. Quite often we use like a shadow fall. Speaking of bulky electrics, we also have Detonate in this cup, but that is quite heavily weak to Beedrill. And early signs is that Beedrill is going to be everywhere. So Ampharos might be a fun little kind of alternate if you want to use your electric to maybe be a bit outside the box from where the meta is potentially taking you. So it's quite nice because you get a Volt Switch, you get to the Thunder Punches pretty quick as well. So you're doing nice chip damage to a lot of the meta. And the Focus Blast is nice because, as I say, there's a few normal types about. So landing that Focus Blast is not good news for a normal type, but you got to land it, I suppose. Depends. They can always shield, I suppose. But the point is, you've got that option there, and it's just I just think it's an interesting pick amongst the electric types, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if we have a few people who kind of do something a bit different and run it. Is my guess.
I mean, you can always threaten your Focus Blast with those Thunder Punches that are coming every 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get into those fast. It's a nice mix.
Yeah,
are we not all just thinking Electivire though?
Yeah, but Electivire is frail. Electivire is frail. That's a thing, because you can do Electivire, you can do Luxray, you can do, I think there's another sort of fairly fast for electric type in there as well. But
Mining.
Mining's a bit bulkier, but a lot of those is like it's a quick wild charge, which does a lot, but then you double debuff, you're quite frail, and you might need to switch out. But if you want something which kind of balances the bulk on your team, because there are quite a few. I mean, it depends how you build it, really, because there's quite a few mons which are quite frail on this month. There's also quite a few bulky mons. It's all about finding that balance. And maybe if you do something a bit different from the crowd, it might pay off.
You can take a Beedrill by surprise and run Power Gem.
Yeah, there you go. That's now we're talking.
Like you laugh, but I've had that where I can't remember what club it was, but I had my Frostlass lined up against an Ampharos. I think it was against Leandro actually, and he friggin' Power Gen me. So I was like, "Oh, this is fine." Oh no, it's not. Not saying it's the right thing to do, but it could be situationally.
I think
give me a surprise win.
That's the thing with the Thunder Punches here, right? Thunder Punch is normally a really bad move, but like when you look at things like Beedrill, that are going to be arguably the most common things, they're not going to enjoy the Thunder Punch really. Like it's a couple of alt switches and a couple of Thunder Punches, and you're going to beat it up. And you know,
I mean, what?
Otherwise, you're looking at water types as well, and
yeah. And what's resisting electric here anyway? There's no ground types.
Just your own electric.
Your own electrics, yeah.
Yeah,
but you're only going to have that's only going to be one member of the team, and then their electrics you'll probably be resisting their electric moves as well. So that's kind of fairly neutral on that one.
Yeah, I do like that they've tried to highlight electrics, put them on a bit of a pedestal.
Yeah,
because it's a fun typing to use. Like it's a fun, risky, like some of them high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about left right, but like Ampharos as well. If you land in focus blasts, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of electrics for all typically. It's kind of go in, do a lot of damage, and dies pretty quickly as well. They're not usually in long brawls and stuff, but but Ampharos, like I say, it's a nice kind of little variation on all the others. So
yeah, and you mentioned it as well, like alongside Titene, like not having the weakness to poison jab. It's just so it's going to be so valuable here. Like whilst also having a neutral hit. See, I think if I was running Ampharos, I think I'd be inclined to go brutal swing and potentially try and bait the focus blast if I'm up against an Umbreon or an Eradicate, just to go up to it, try and grab a shield. But I think the ability to hit Luxray fairly quickly with a non-resisted move is going to be quite important as well. So I mean you might be able to win that matchup straight Thunder Punch. I don't know, but that's something.
Yeah, I'd quite like straight Thunder Punch there. But the thing about Luxray is, once it's had a wild charge, you're resisting it, and then it'll be double debuff. So you can kind of it won't be taking many hits after that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Ampharos is kind of, I feel like it's the safe pick, the middle of the road sort of, which is kind of nice. Like if you don't think you're gonna use your electric, like if you come up with a strategy where you like some of the other things and you want to use them in your line to 3, then sort of sometimes going with that middle of the road mon that's not going to necessarily, like going, if you have no intention of using your electric, Ampharos is going to be something that isn't going to influence your opponent's lines too much. Whereas a big wild charger or something weak to poison jab might do as well, which I think is kind of interesting.
I think it's a good summary of that, of the electric types in total, really. You get your bulky ones, which might be weak to poison, and then you get your frail ones, and then Ampharos is kind of neither. So it's got a nice little niche there.
Cool. Any other thoughts about Ampharos, or move on?
I've not really used it much in Great League, to be honest. So I've mainly used it in Ultra League when it's had a bit of bulk. But is the Shadow variant available, or is it just
No, shadows are allowed, but like I say, I think
thoughts on the Shadow, or do you reckon just the normal version?
I think I prefer the normal here, because I think if you're using Ampharos, you're probably using it for a bit more bulk, a bit more chip damage. So the Shadow kind of isn't. I mean, it's nice, but it wouldn't particularly go with that strategy in my mind. But it all depends on team, really.
So what moves left to talk about there then? Return?
Zap Cannon.
Dragon Pulse.
Zap Cannon?
Dragon Pulse, yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to go Brutal Swing over that, aren't you?
Yeah. A lot of options.
Yeah. Although not many of them are particularly useful here. That's the kind of the.
No, but I'm liking the focus class. I'm liking the focus
But
class.
nothing's going to want to. Yeah, nothing's going to want to take a Zap Cannon though either off an Ampharos, because Ampharos has got a decent attack stat, right?
Yeah.
So I even think like if you're Zap Cannon and Umbreon still ain't going to want to tank that. Yeah, it's obviously it will.
It will.
But it's not going to appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it as if it's a bulky mon, but I'm pretty sure it's, like, for context, it's only marginally bulkier than something like Tyranitar, right? So it's kind of, just for context.
It's bulky by that's the
types.
absolute glass, which is the other electric types, like Shadow Luxray or Shadow Electivire, which just die to everything.
Yeah. So yeah, it's certainly going to be hurting things with its charge moves.
And there are quite a few spammy mons this month, as we've discovered. So having something which can take a hit or two might not be the worst idea.
Yeah. I know we're talking about the Ionic Cup here, but I actually think Ampharos has a lot of play in Polkadot. I think that might be something I'd look to run in Polkadot. So maybe that's something we'll revisit next month as well at some point. But
I'll bring him back next month.
Bring the plushie back for sure. Although you might have to fight Cal to speak about Ampharos.
Oh, true. Speaking of which, one of the other plushes I actually have a Quagsire plush. It's a little mini one. So yeah, there you go, Phil. Just draw that in there, didn't I?
It exists.
Yeah.
It exists.
It's like it's a little one. I'll get it later on in the episode if you want. But
that's the face of enlightenment right there. That's.
It's not as big as the Ampharos. The Ampharos is like, got quite a big height, and Quagsire just sits on the desk like a good little boy.
Sizes and everything.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Let's be honest.
Well, certainly with Quagsire, as I discovered last month, it is very much how you used it. So that's. Okay, Phil, let's move on to your pick then, mate.
Who did I pick? Oh yeah, so there's no mud boys. There's no mud boys. So pretend mud boy. I hate that frog. Politoed. Now Dan's going to disown me for not looking up the Pokédex number.
I can help you out if you want.
Oh, cheers, please do.
186.
Yeah. So obviously you've got your electric types. You've got your poison types that are in the meta. So my head's thinking, right, where am I going to get some ground coverage? Yes, there's Beedrill. Yes, there's Earthquake on Politoed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it feels like it's going to fit. Obviously, you're going to Earthquake all the other Watermons that are knocking about. It is a spammy mon. Yes, we've had a little bit of a nerf to the weather balls, but I think it's a pretty safe-ish pick.
Yeah. They still add up, those weather balls.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of bulk about it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, a bit of bulk to it, yeah.
Yeah, I think all the water types here do, which is kind of nice.
All of them.
Well, most of them.
Running the standing move sets, yes. No, like I said, I've done little practice, but just looking at how the meta pans out, where they're forcing you down a electric route and potentially one or two poisons knocking about. I think having something with either a threatening a ground nuke or actually throwing it when your shields are down, I think it's could be very useful.
And it's not like if you try and bait the Earthquake, it's not like you're not going to do damage with Weather Ball. Weather Ball's still going to.
Yeah, like if you're facing off their Electivire or you're facing off against their Luxray, it's still going to do 40-odd%.
Yeah, for sure. I think this.
Yeah, and the mud shots are going to add up as well.
Yeah, that really strong move mudshot. Yeah, it's gonna add up. Yeah,
They do add up. If that Shadow Lux race had its debuff, you're jumping them down, and I'm like wet ball all day after that.
Yeah, it can be brutal for sure. But I think it's all the speed of it, the fact that it's faster than Beedrill, the fact that it's faster than Lux Ray to even a Psychic fans, right? Like
you're speaking from experience there.
More experience than I would like to speak from, Stu. Yes.
So, Stu, have you had any experience with Politoed?
I have been running a Shadow Politoed this evening, and I had a great time with it. I highly recommend. You just get in there for those weather balls so fast, and get a bit of energy on them. You're firing 2, 3 off very quickly, and they add up. And it's not really resisted here except by I think other water types at most.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
yeah, I've got really fond memories of Politoed because it was actually the first time I hit Legend in Go Battle League.
You're right there, Jay.
was using Politoed. Well, we're talking about the good stuff here, myself, but and yeah, like it is just so rapid to move, and like Matthew was saying, like even if you fail a bait, most of the time you're probably not going to be bothered unless it's against like a pure water cycle or maybe the Poliwrath or whatever, because that might not add up, but you just spam and you get to the Earthquake again so fast. It's just one of them annoying. I think that's why Phil hates it and loves it at the same time, because it's just really annoying but fun to use.
Yeah. That's good.
So Stu, Shadow. Why did you pick the Shadow?
Just because more shield pressure, doing more damage, and it's that extra damage essentially. I think it's just worth it for Politoed. So because I think on my team I didn't have any other shadows either. Like, I didn't run Shadow Beedrill, I didn't run Shadow Snorlax, but I went Shadow Politoed just because I thought nothing's going to want to take those weather balls. So it just felt like a really good opportunity to use it.
And in quite a frail cup as well, it feels like the turning, like the difference between a non-shadow and a shadow here might be enough to take it from 3 hits,
knocking it out in 2 or knocking it out in 3.
Yeah, and the bulk isn't making that much difference. I mean, what I did learn is it doesn't enjoy going up against a shadow Beedrill if it's got a couple of shields, because the poison jabs add up. But aside from that, I think it's a big advantage to run the shadow on Politoed.
Very nice. You're welcome, boys.
You were going to chime in there, Jay. What was?
Oh no, I was just going to the bog standard. Like obviously, when you get a bulky mon and you make it shadow, it's just like an upgrade. I think for 90% of mons, like a bit like your Laprases. I think Politoed is generally just better in the shadow form. He's pretty much covered it, to be honest. So I was just repeating what he was saying.
I went into this cup thinking Blastoise is going to be epic here, and like to some extent it is really good because you've got like you can get away with not shielding a weather ball. You can't really get away with not shielding a hydro cannon. But it's just the meta is so fast. Like it's I think the benefit of Politoed over the other bulkier water types is that speed, and I can't say enough for how much I think that's going to be important here.
Yeah,
I almost said Samurott. So you saying there about hydro cannon? Samurott would Samurott not have a better place than Blastoise?
I think the issue is there's not enough bulk for Samurott. For me, in my opinion, in this, especially when I think as the meta progresses, like I think most of people's mons are gonna just be spammy as hell. And I don't know, Samurot's spammy as hell and hits hard, but it's gonna need your shields. Whereas I think like a Politoed, even a Blastoise, even though it's not that spammy, like the water guns add up, it's got that longevity because it's so bulky.
Yeah, Blastoise is bulkier for sure. Yeah.
So
and between water gun on Blastoise and even Mudshot on Politoed with the electrics around, like Stu was saying, like you can farm stuff down. You can't farm anything down with Fury. So really, like I mean, you can, but it's more situational, right?
But what I will say though with Samurott, though, I do actually think it's an interesting one because there's a few, there's Umbreons could be around a lot, and I don't know how to get his dark type, which could be around. As Sableye, it's fairly neutral, but still a dark type. And I do think having a bug move here might be quite nice. So I think it's an interesting choice, but I don't know if it would be like top of my list. Let's put it that way.
I mean, Mega Horn, like Mega Horn hits like a flip, even if it's non-stop from Samurott because of its attack. But at the same time, like the Earthquakes from the Politoads or the Skull Bashes from the Blastoise. So I think for me, I want a little bit more bulk, and that's why I quite like the Politoed.
I think we're already building up one of the best things about this cup. There's a little bit of interchangeability between, for example, the water types. You've still got the same situation, same roles. So there's a little bit of variety rather than just the same 6 months. So I think the meta team have done a good job here.
Yeah, there's quite a few like substitutes, I guess, is probably the word for each mon, like, or side grades. Because I suppose you can't really, I mean, there are obviously downgrades as well, but the basic premise of, you'll have like 3 or 4 Pokemon that'll basically do the same thing, but maybe just slightly differently. So it's going to be quite cool. And hopefully, when people are team building, we can actually see a bit of variation.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think, like Stu was saying, Beedrill is looking really popular from it, and quite rightly so. It's obviously very, very good. But when I think about how I've played in the past and how I've played in practices, I've done maybe 10 sets of practice for this cup, which is a reasonable amount, right? I know people will have done more, but it's kind of more than I have been doing for the past couple of years. I'm just not very good at playing Beedrill, as in using it, and I don't like the big electric debuffer ones, and so I kind of think that the bulk is going to be more important for me, and being able to use those side grades in a different way is going to free up those restricted slots in a different way. So like it's kind of, yes, you could look at this graphic, pick Dedenne, Beedrill and Umbreon, and then run them through every game, and you do fine. But I think there are more ways to play this cup than initially meets the eye. So I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, with Politoed tonight, like I was getting there a bit of an energy advantage, and that was huge with my sort of Shadow Politoed. So I think it's certainly something in there which can kind of disrupt play, because I think it will actually do pretty well against the other electric types as well, even with an energy lead. So yeah, definitely multiple options. What way to break up the RPS?
Yeah, this bastard, he farmed down my Blastoise from 30% with Mudshots.
And then I was like, weatherball. Do. Yeah. Had a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, onto a water type that's not quite so bulky. Jay, we'll go.
Oh, is it?
You. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually not talking about Pokedex number 342, believe it or not. Frozen, if you didn't know, which is viable. It is here. No, I'm going to talk about Pokedex number 364, the ball rolling Pokemon who likes to entertain itself by rolling and balancing Spheal on its nose, Celio. So I think Celio's boss. Like, we had a bit of a chat in our faction gym division the other day about it in the Hoenn Cup, and people were having a laugh with it in there. And since the wall rain there from whatever, I think it just meant Celio has a bit more time to shine again. Because I think it's been quite good in Sylph Cups in the past. I've always enjoyed it when it's been around. It's body slam spam. It's got power to snow, and it's got a nice bit of bulk about it. So it's one of them where majority of the time you like to use a safe switch because you get that power, there's no energy, and then you just body slam spamming for days and it gets out of hand and people just don't know where you're up to energy wise. But there's a few different variants you could use of Celio in this cup, and I was looking at it. And Shadow is quite highly ranked compared to the regular. But if you take that Shadow and you purify it and give it return and body slam, it actually performs like so much better. So like it's like 10% more wins across the board in each like shield scenario by giving it return instead of like Aurora Beam or Water Pulse. Now, yes, it's full normal charge move, so it's going to be walled by Sableye. But who the fuck's using Sableye? Like,
a few people, Jay.
No one's going to use Sableye, okay? Umbreon's around, okay? People are going to use Umbreon, so don't worry about it. And if you are worried, then just protect it. But like, there's no Steel types, there's no other Ghost types, so why not just go full normal?
Yeah. They don't know you're going full normal. It's fine. But Sableye.
No, they might just see
people don't watch this.
But I mean, and then like I was saying about it, you give it a powder snow or two, and then it just starts popping off with like 70 to 80% win rate. Because I mean, and to be fair, most of it is the body slam spam, but having that return nuke, because it's such a better move than the other moves it's got, it just gives it a couple of extra wins here and there across the meta. And I think it's going to be really fun to use. And I think it's one of them, like, it's like I was saying about getting out of hand a bit, like the Politoed, it's, okay, it doesn't want to see the electrics and it might not want to see like the fighters, but you're going to be out spamming most of them. And the body slams add up. So you're going to get shields, like, there's no doubt about it. You're going to get shields. Like, the Poliwrath matchup is not comfortable for Poliwrath because you're outpacing it and you can tank a dynamic punch. So it's just one of them where I just think it could take a few people by surprise with their, they probably have like some bog standard cores, and Celio with NA just goes off. I think it's a really fun one, and I think it could, to quote Stu, this could be the one that breaks the RPS. If there is an RPS, there's always people that will pick an RPS team. But this is that. I quite like to try and pick something that can shock people, and it's not Crawdon for once. So
yeah. No, sorry. I knew you would have got Celio. I did know that, obviously, but I just kind of assumed, right?
I think everybody assumed he wasn't going double normal, and now he has. We're like, well, what now?
Yeah.
This is Jay, everyone.
Do you know what, though? Because body slam and return, in terms of damage per energy, are very, very similar. Like, return's only slightly more efficient. But the fact that you're picking up so many more extra wins by not giving up another fast move to your opponent by throwing one charge move rather than two, I think that sort of shows how fast this meta is, because like they're so similar in damage per energy that like the damage output is kind of difference is negligible. I imagine what's winning you those extra games is saving your opponent from going for an extra fast move, which is kind of nuts, really.
Yeah, and I just think it's one of them where, like, even like I was saying, like for me, when I was looking into the Poliwrath match, because I was like, obviously it's weak to fighting electric or that jazz, but the fact that it was like tanking moves, like the discharge off the Dene tanks it, like you're out spamming it. So you're always there's a few different ways you can utilize it, and I think it could be a case of if I go for a shield advantage or whatever, or I've got 2 power sales advantage, so I know I can just 2 shield through this. Obviously, like I said, avoid the Sableye, and it just looks like an absolute beast.
Yeah, it's fair.
And then the return option, like the surprise, I mean, obviously they're going to see the white glow of your purification.
Yeah, and there's going to be the clue though that you're charging a long way to that return because everything else is quite relatively
hard to
spammy.
know though, man. It's not that far away. It's there quickly.
And also, like Celio is a fairly expensive mon to build. So it's kind of like you could be forgiven for thinking that someone's purified one to save on Stardust because saving the Stardust on the power ups and the charge move and still having good IVs. So it's not like I have a Golbat, a purified Golbat with return, and I have a.
I was about to say Golbat. I have a purified Golbat as well.
And I have a
not with return.
Well, I have one with and one without return, just in case.
Yeah.
Right, but it's kind of one of those where with Golbat, it's not like something at that level. It's more predictable. I think for something like Celio, I don't think return's predictable even with the club.
So I'm similar. I've got 2 purified Glygars.
Yeah,
one with
go,
return, one without. Like, yeah. Funnily enough, guys, I don't have a purified Celio, which is really annoying. And I don't even have one to purify after doing my research. So I'm gonna have to trade for one or something.
Yeah, there's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, there's still time.
Yeah, so Celio, very, very spammy. It is in the same slot as Beedrill, though. So it rules out Beedrill. How do you feel about that?
Fine. I mean,
good.
I think I had my fun with Beedrill in Architect Cup last season. It was one of them. I just think I'm not necessarily a meta man, and that's how I roll. I like to just go, okay, everyone's going to use that, so I'm going to not use that. That's just my general mindset towards how I self. And it's obviously it doesn't work the same. It's not a side grade. It is just a completely different Pokemon. Yes, it's spammy and it might handle a couple of the same things, but it just does a different job. But there are alternatives, Why not use Scolipede?
I was just about to say, have you got a Scolipede built by any chance?
I do.
Yeah.
I quite like Scolipede. It hits like a freaking truck.
It does. It hits harder than Beedrill, and
I think that's like we were discussing earlier about like the substitutes or whatever. Like, I definitely think yes, it's slightly different. It doesn't have the ground coverage, but its basis of poison jab X is there. Like it's got Sludge Bomb and I think Mega Horn as well.
Gyro Ball.
It's got plenty of coverage there with its moves, and because it hits a little bit harder, you're probably just going to be X as a spamming with your poison jab through most things. So
I tell you what, I didn't realise it had Gyro Ball, Phil. That could be a nice nuke to hit other Beedrills and stuff like that. Right? That's kind of
you've actually got something. Yeah, you got something with the Beedrills with,
No, fair enough. Yeah, just going back to Architect Cup, I used certainly early on. I had a lot of fun with Celio in Architect Cup, and that it was kind of a similar sort of feel to how this one feels with the spam and the Beedrill and stuff.
And the wares.
Celio shone for me so much in the regionals, mainly against Statistan, where I 3-0'd him, and it was just the Celio show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is fine," and then it was like, "Oh shit, no, it's not," because Celio just kept going, "Yeah, have a body slap, and it was just like it just underestimated him.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing with Celio. I feel like a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this as well. You kind of see Celio and think, you kind of know what's coming. Kind of just general chip damage. But if you don't really have anything which properly covers it, it can really add up and cause a lot of problems. And it's something you definitely have to be prepared for, because if you're not prepared for it, it's tricky to deal with for sure.
Have
Yeah.
you guys have all been playing Sol for a long time now? Have any of you played as far back as Tempest Cup?
Oh yeah.
season 1, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the boss.
Yeah.
Paired up with Lapras,
Yeah.
you'd safe swap to Celio. And then Lapras was free at the end. Yeah, usually with Tropia. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Celio.
I seem to remember with Celio, it was a bit of a trap against Frostlass though, because a lot of people were running the Power Snow Body Slam Aurora, then they couldn't hit Frostlass, and then you just get Shadow Ball. That was its main kind of downfall. But yeah, Celio was a real pain back in the day. Much more useful than Warreen. Warreen only came good with its Tom Day.
Celio's been very good in Sol for a very long time, and so I love it when it comes up.
Yeah, I think for me, Timeless Cup was a good one as well. I think a lot of people went
Yes, definitely.
And I was on the Celio train there for that. But yeah,
which
I think
cup was that,
Celio himself.
Timeless.
Timeless. Oh yeah, sorry, it's just cut out a little bit. Great shout. Yeah.
Yeah, I was running Celio, I think, for Timeless as well. It was really good back then. Yeah, like I say, it's just tough to deal with it. The moves added up.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, any more thoughts on Celio? We've sort of thought about the good old days, right? That's.
I never thought of double normal in Celio. That's opened my eyes.
No, I hadn't either until it was just like one of them light bulb moments where I was literally like, yeah, the only ghost is Save Y. There's no steal, and let's just see what it does. And yeah, it was just like instant upgrade.
What about Barbaracle being a rock type?
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, yeah, you're not beating that anyway. Like let's be honest.
Barbaracle's a funny one.
Doesn't matter what move you've got on Celio, you're not going to beat Barbaracle.
No,
yeah,
that's true.
Barbaracle's awkward to use. Yeah.
I mean, kudos to people who are going to use Barbaracle. I think that's another one that could be quite fun to use this month. But
yeah,
again, it's like the Beedrills kind of feel like I'll have it somewhere.
Weak to electric though as well, Barbaracle. I don't know if that works in its favour particularly.
I think it's just about poor type, but good charge moves.
Yeah. The thing with Barbaracle is do you remember when there was that Play Pokemon tournament and Stone Collection was battering everyone with Samurott?
Yeah. When
I see that makes me think, shit, there's going to be some really good player out there that's going to get a 7-0 this month with Barbaracle. Like when you see that, it's kind of, it does make me worry. If I was trying to sort of teach someone how to play PvP, I would obviously not recommend Barbaracle to them in this cup. Not for a really top player who knows how to figure out a meta and can see how games are played before they happen. I think Barbaracle could be seriously dangerous for the right hands, for sure.
So if Stone Collection's watching and you go 7-0 with a Barbaracle, we heard it start here first.
If Stone Collection's watching, your mum gay. He'll understand that. But he's right.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent me a payment over PayPal for a social that I hosted, and his message was "Your mum gay," and it was just fucking hilarious. Just so random. I spoke to him for 2 minutes, and that was his.
That was his go-to.
It was take my money and your mum gay. I was sad.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah. Fair enough. Cool. Well, any further thoughts on Celio?
Not on Celio, but
go on.
Crag's here.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just as an honourable mention, I just don't think Crawdon's the one. Not for this meta.
Oh no!
I know. I love that it's there, but that is an actual downgrade from what's available.
Do you because it did NA or what?
And the bugs as well, I think.
Yeah, there's just bugs. There's electric on every team. The fast move pressure, that's going to be around. It's just a bit
No, there's not many
It's
things.
not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it.
There's not many things dark is super effective against in this meta, if anything. And water's neutral, but not. So from a typing point of view, it's not its best moment. But
It's purely a Sableye answer.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean Jay can't make it work. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, the likelihood of it being on a team of 6 for me is quite high. But whether it comes or not is debatable.
Yeah. Fair.
Just lead it against the Snorlax, get his Night Flash boots and sweep.
I mean, yes, that's the licks. Licks actually add up. Crawdon doesn't really sense. It's a lie. No. I mean, have you used a Crawdon?
I've used it once, yeah. I built one for you, Jay. I built one for you.
Yeah, and you used it once and you never used it again. But anyway.
No, fair enough, mate. Yeah, fair enough. It's normally Crawdon's is how fast it is, right? But we're in a fast cup anyway, so
exactly. Everything's spammy and everything's gonna outbulk it. So it'll be just
fair enough. Okay. Well, my pick is Pokédex number 760, and that is Beware. I'm kind of at I'm not at I'm kind of at odds with myself about what I want to run this month, because I think the stuff that's good I touched on. I'm not very good at using the stuff that's good this month. Is how I think this is going to end up going. And so I'm kind of looking at that unrestricted pool and thinking, where can I try and find an advantage? And I think Beware has a couple of options which make it really nice. Like, obviously it's stab superpower, which really messes up the bulkier picks in the neutron slot. Stomp isn't great, but with stab and in a frail cup, it's kind of workable.
It's not bad, Stomp. It's not bad with Beware.
No, it's kind of it's the same as Thunder Punch or Ice Punch or something.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, it's workable. It's not body slam, but it's workable.
Yeah.
And then you've got where I think things get interesting for it is the fast moves. Because yes, you've got Shadow Claw, which is your typical move, which a sort of ghosty normal, as I've called them before, have run to beat Sableye. But there's a lot of normals here, and having that might make those matchups not as good as you would like them to be, because all of a sudden you're really relying on superpowers. And after the first one, it doesn't hurt as much. But otherwise, you've also got Tackle, which we saw last month on Green and Miltank, how it can play. And all of a sudden, if you put Tackle on Beware, you're an excellent Umbreon counter. You can look at you can look at it in two different ways. I also think just the way this cup might play is that, as Stu and I found out earlier, farm downs are going to be really important here, and Beware with Tackle specifically is what I've looked into for this. But I ran Shadow Claw tonight and it played well. So with Tackle Beware, you either win hard leads and you force your opponent to switch out, or you lose narrow leads in zeros. So you're either winning with enough health left, if you choose to play the zeros, but if you don't, there's going to be some other advantage there for you. You're either winning well enough to get to another move afterwards, or you're losing at a point where your opponent's got to think quickly when you bring your next one in. Because otherwise you're going to get 3 poison jabs with a Beedrill, and then it's kind of difficult to come back from that in this cup. The only things it sort of loses hard to are Luxray. This is with Tackle, because it's just that little bit slower, which means the Psychic Fangs come too fast for you to cope with. Luxray and Sableye. The Tackle version doesn't like Sableye one bit, as you might imagine. So as long as you build your team to cope with those things, which, I mean, Umbreon's there. That's kind of, it's a great mon in its own right, and also is about the best counter to those two mons in this cup as well. So you could see how a Tackle Beware plus Umbreon Core might work nicely if you want to figure out how a team might work with those. But yeah, I think Beware is kind of potentially a bit more than meets the eye in this cup.
First question I have on that: why are you thinking Beware over, say, Snorlax, which has also got superpower and has body slam as well, which is
The stab.
Upgrade. Yeah. Is it the fact you're resisting the darks?
It's the resisting the dark, and
Yeah.
I believe you also resist bug, which makes you
Yes, you do. You do.
kind of more playable versus Beedrill. It makes those baits riskier. Yeah, and like I said, the stab for superpower is pretty big. And then also Snorlax, again, like, and this isn't to say, because you're not always running, you can't run both fast moves, right? Like, they have the pros and cons, but particularly on a tackle version, like, Snorlax doesn't want to take on Umbreon still, really. Let's face it. Whereas Beware kind of really does. So it can play two ways. Snorlax, I appreciate is, and normal cast forms there as well, unrestricted, which does a sort of similar things without the fighting coverage. But it's interesting. I think they are. It's like we've talked about it all night. The side grades. I think they are such interesting side grades on all three of them: Beware, Norm Form, and Snorlax.
Yeah.
I think they are all interesting side grades on Green and on Munchlax. I think they're really good side grades as well. So I don't think I could run Green or Munchlax. I could. Obviously. I don't think I would run Green or Munchlax whilst Beware, Snorlax, and Castform are sat there unrestricted.
I'm not so sure on Castform this one. I don't think there's enough that's weak to rock here, personally, because I feel like if you're using Castform, you want to be getting some good damage with Weather Ball, and there's only really the bugs that rock's hitting here, and I'm not sure that's quite enough for me, but you can debate.
It depends what else is on your team, right? If you're looking at a Dene team, then all of a sudden that extra rock coverage becomes quite important. So yeah, but
Beedrill's kind of spammy, so I kind of feel like also quite frail as well. So I kind of feel like most spammy mons will do good against Beedrill. Well, not good against Beedrill, but at least take.
It's kind of it might not actually be worth anything more than a body slam. You're right, for sure. I think. Oh, go on, Jay. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think pointing out the resist bug really does help, like, shut down the Beedrill a bit more, because doesn't really want to tank a stomp. I'd imagine most people are going to probably use Shadow Beedrill as well. So the fast move pressure of tackle, and then the stomps will do enough. So because it does hit hard. I mean, I think it's probably like thinking about it, like when about it being side grades of like Snorlax and whatever. I just think actually, because of how hard it hits the others, it'll spam out, but there's not really much shield pressure. Whereas I think Beware gives you that shield pressure instantly. Like you just want, because the superpower is going to hit that much harder. It's stat. It's just it'll threaten shields more than the likes of a Snorlax or a Greedence or a Castform.
I think one of the things you have to be really careful with Beware and Snorlax as well is if you're running a wild charge user, it can be difficult to keep the switch clock low on yourself if you're going to run. Because typically you want a wild charge in Dip, right? If you're running Beware on your line as well, like Beware isn't a great option to dip into, because at that point, if you want to do some serious damage, you're debuffing yourself and you're locked in that time. So that's also a consideration. But it's kind of I've completely lost my train of thought.
But I was just going to say, I think if you were to run it in a line with like a wild charge user, I feel like you kind of pick one of them as your lead and one of them as your closer, rather than I'm going to wild charge and dip into this, and then because you know that just sounds like a bad strat. Like I'm going to debuff myself, then swap into something that's going to debuff itself, and then I'm screwed. Whereas if you're like you've got something in the middle, that you can wild charge and dip or superpower and dip, grab the shield, have you safe swap like a Celio. And then or a Polytone, and then you've got a choice. Then you can either go your wild charge and dip route again, or you can go into your superpower and dip,
or just don't use a wild charge user.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's just things. I think because of the spam, I think it's like using ones like it, where you are threatening shields. It really is going to make your opponent have to think and weigh up their options a bit more. Of like, right, when do I need to use this shield? Because it's like, that wild charge is going to hit, but that superpower is going to hit, and then these body slams really add up, and they're really annoying. And I just think it's going to be. I think the shield usage is going to be massive, and I think when you've got the mind games of having these mons in your lines or in your team of 6, you're always going to have people question: are they going to bait? Are they going to do this? It's just, I think, more so than previous cups, especially like last month. It was more right. Well, I'll run double tackle and throw in an Altaria or whatever, or a Shadow Sizer.
I was just going to come back to that actually. Like when you think back to your games from last month, how many of them were decided by, or like when you think of the end games of them, it felt to me like a lot of them came down to whose greed had more health in the end, right? And I think if we see when we look at the bulk here, it's all normal, all dark. Like if people are going to try and play that similar strategy of save the bulk till the end and try and power through, then yeah, you make a great point. Actually, it could be an exceptional closer because the wild charges users aren't necessarily going to break through those bulky mons all the time, but superpowers has a better chance of doing it.
Yeah. or you get your focus blast from Ampharos and break through it that way.
Yes, yeah.
And then you don't have to use wild charge; you can use beware. So, problem solved.
There we go. Phil, I know you were also a big fan of Snorlax.
Yeah, mainly for that side grade option. You're getting a freebie in your wildcard slots rather than that way you're not being forced to use Munchlax or Greedent.
I mean, you've got the upgrade from Bulldoze to Earthquake as well.
It's true.
Well, yeah. Earthquake. Yeah. Actually, Jay. Jay.
Double Earthquake, hello.
Oh, mate, double Earthquakers. Oh, I'll sort that. I'll change that later. That's a great idea.
Like if you wanted for ground coverage, I really think Seeking might be solid here. It's not something I've
too
looked at.
frail.
You say that, but people are running Beedrill in every team, right? It's
and it's too.
Yeah,
slow.
but Beedrill's not weak to electric either.
No, it's true.
And you're not hitting stab by them.
No, it's true.
It's true. You're just flopping around throwing D-bats.
Yeah, it's fair enough, actually. Yeah. I mean,
so I didn't mean to shoot it.
No, it's fair. But like, if the water types do get big, like you've talked about Polytoad, Jay's talked about Celio. Seeking has a combination of fast moves and charge moves that can do neutral damage to other waters.
Unresisted, yeah.
Where I don't think any of the other waters do have that. Samurai, although excluded, but like even Milotic, which is
Polytoad.
Okay, we're counting mud shots as fast and okay, right. I see.
If we're counting Fury cards, we're counting.
No, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair play. Yeah.
You can't have one and not the other.
No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Beedrill is obviously excellent, and it's kind of a definite upgrade on Seeking. It's there. If we're falling over Earthquake, it's there.
I mean, what's like the general? Like, I haven't done any practice cups yet. I've got like a team of 6 that I've kind of like thrown together and had a quick look through on PvPoke and whatever, and feel happy with it. But like, what is the general census on people bringing Sableye? Like, I've honestly got it in my head that it's just not gonna happen. But am I just being deluded there?
Well, I go on.
No, you're better qualified to talk. Clearly, you're better qualified than me to talk.
There will be Sableyes about. I think you're a bit. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the best pick, but there's definitely going to be Sableyes about. It's too good a mon not to really. Like, it's one of those things. I mean, aside from Dead Note, there's not really any fairies about. And Sableye is just really good generally. Like, it's really good in Great League normally.
Resisting poison's a big one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. If you had me at gunpoint and said, enter your team now for the rest of the month, Sableye's in my team. Quite honestly, I think it's a good enough check to Beedrill and the Ariados's even and Scolopedes, which they are just really good. But there's no two ways about it. It's a good enough check to those that almost makes it worth really struggling versus Umbreon, because you've still got return, and it's easier to find things. When I'm sort of sat here thinking about how the team looks in my head, it's at danger of looking RPS. It's just a case of, can you play it in a way where it's easier to find things that cover Sableye's weaknesses and have Sableye covering Beedrill well than it is to find things that aren't weak to Sableye but are better versus Beedrill. I think it opens up more options for your team building if you're barreling it. I think
this is where
exactly how I saw it.
What was that, Phil?
Yeah.
Exactly how I saw it from my first 6.
Right, fair enough. Interesting.
Hence why I'm not picked Beedrill.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wish Beedrill wasn't allowed, because then I could have fun with my Ariados. It's so much fun to use. But alas, Beedrill's out. The drill run's too good to avoid, really. So in it goes.
It's like I say, right? I think you might see 70% of teams running Beedrill and Umbreon like as a pair. Like but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. Well, I mean, it is good. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way to go. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way to go. Like, those teams, if those teams are going to be common, like, they will have common weaknesses as well. And if you can exploit those weaknesses by building around them.
I'm still not convinced by Umbreon this month.
Nor am I. No, am I.
Yeah, not yet. Umbreon's sitting in a bit of an awkward place this month for me. I'll just put it that way.
It kind of feels a bit like Altaria last month, right?
No,
but Altaria was really good last month. As long as you avoided ice types, Altaria goes Dragon Breath, and you're having a great time.
I think that's a good comparison for Altaria last month. It's like, it'll probably be on the majority of teams, and everyone will have a check to it, but because it does what it says on the tin with Umbreon, people still won't be afraid to bring it. And that's why I'm just like, I don't know, torn over the Sableye as well, because it's like, I know how good Sableye is. I love Sableye. Like, I'm really a big fan of the Shadow Sableye as well at the minute. Don't think it would be the way to go here. Obviously, you need the return, but yeah, maybe I'm becoming a coward in my old age.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think we've covered everything pretty well. unless anyone has any like wider thoughts on the meta, like I think this is going to be the last championship this month. So
I'd just say, as like I said, I really like the style of the meta. I do enjoy these. Like you have like the slot picks and the whitelist and stuff. I think, like I said, I think that the side grade options are, a lot of them are viable. So I think it could be quite a fun one.
Yeah. No, this month's looking really fun. I think it should be a really good one. And it's a variety of picks in the sort of not particularly RPS meta and a lot of spam. It gives a lot of variety of strategies. And yeah, I think this is my favourite meta so far, I'd say, this season.
I like it. But it does feel like rain on your wedding day.
Oh, it's a lot of small stuff, yeah. Fucking hell.
A free ride when you've already paid. Yeah? Just a little Ionic, don't you think?
Hey!
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
Why is it, everyone?
See you next month.
yeah.
I have no words after that.
That's quality. I love Phil.
There we go. The content.
I was going to congratulate everyone on not making any Alanis Morissette quotes, and thought, okay, I'll go for it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for inviting us on, Matthew. Obviously, I've been a bit quieter for the PvP scene, but thanks very much for having us.
Yeah, always good to have you on, Phil. Right? It's
Stu, show us the Quagsire. I missed him.
Yeah.
I missed him. Stu, say something. Quaggy. Hang on. I can't. Video one sec. Quaggy. Oh, he's beautiful. Where did you get him?
Liverpool, actually a year ago. So, yeah.
Was that a year ago now?
Well, yeah, the first one was.
First one, 11 months ago. 11 months
Jesus.
ago. Yeah.
Bloody hell, time goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. We'll end it there. Cheers, guys. Catch you in a bit, and good luck with your month of not.
Cheers, and you too.
Good luck, have fun.
Cheers.